I'm just wondering, Vernon, if you can tell me about the first thoughts that came into your mind when you got that call from Marcus about being a judge.
When I first got the call, the first thought was, okay, the Telstra Award has this big, long legacy, and there are actual responsibilities that go with being a judge of an award with a legacy. So that was my first thought. Additional to that, it was exciting being involved with the Telstra. I haven't had anything to do with the Telstra for 10 years or so. So yeah, it's been exciting. And I'd entered the Telstra before, and that was, you know, consigned to the past and went on to do other things. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, let's go back to the Telstra and see what it's like.
Great. Mate, I'm just wondering if you can talk just broadly about the NATSIAA Awards and what role you think they play for artists.
I think the NATSIAA Awards have this long history and a legacy of well excellence, actually. So as a judge, you don't want to kind of adversely affect that, but you also want to provide direction and hopefully give an idea of the NATSIAAs that is positive and that everyone can kind of find a bit of strength and enjoyment in also. But I also think that, you know, generally, I think that the NATSIAAs is an award that is in the general public. I think most people would have heard of the National Art Award. So I think from that point it means something, and in Darwin especially, it has a lot to do with the character of the city and what people think of themselves, because everyone knows when it's on.
And if you had to describe the awards to somebody from overseas, who didn't know anything about them, how would you describe them? Like, are they important? Are they meaningful? Like, how would you describe them to someone?
To someone from overseas, I would describe the awards as probably the most important art award for Aboriginal people. It certainly, for blackfellas, it means a lot more than the Archibald or the Wynne Prize or any of the other awards, and Australia has so many of them. But for blackfellas, this is really the only art award that counts for something. I think more blackfellas are familiar with this award in Darwin than they are with the award in Perth, that being a much younger award. So I think you know, I think its popularity comes from that. Everyone knows of it, but for someone from overseas, I think just to say that it's the most important award, and the artwork that fills the spaces is all about the lives of Aboriginal people, and I think that's the best way to describe it for somebody who's not familiar with it.
And you know, there's lots of outcomes from the award every year, and I'm just wondering if you have an idea of what you think the most meaningful outcome from the awards is.
The most meaningful outcome I can think of from the award every year is that it kind of improves the way Aboriginal people see themselves. It gives an idea of who we are that is strong and alive, but also an outcome that I would want to see is that the award itself gives an indication of the complexities of Aboriginal life. It gives an indication of the sophistry of our lives and the way we think. It gives an indication of the emotional depth and intelligence of Aboriginal people. It gives an indication of our lives as ordinary people too, not some sort of romantic ideal that is full of all the tropes that we become known for. So hopefully one of if not all of those outcomes will come to pass.
So, mate, just turning now to your experience of the judging process, and I'm firstly just wondering if you can tell us how you found the pre-selection process.
The pre-selection process I thought was very, very easy and comfortable. I'd been involved in pre-selection before, and it was, that was pretty good. But this one, having done a few awards and pre-selections before, it was good to go in with a plan, with lots of support, and with fellow judges who were kind of ready for it. And regardless of whether we saw eye to eye on things, the process that we entered into ensured that we were thorough and that we gave every artwork its chance to make the hang. And we also, in choosing winners, we gave every artwork its chance to kind of have its own say. And I think that was the best process to enter into. But the pre-selection process especially was very long and long days, but also and tiring too. But we didn't feel at any time we were not being thorough. And that was important, I think, when you're dealing with lots of entries and having to narrow them down to a select few. And so that was good. But the selection process, especially with my fellow judges, with engaging in many conversations about the merits of all these different works and different mediums and different styles from different areas, different ages of people, different community lives and practices, was exciting, but long, but certainly worthwhile and a rich experience.
And the pre-selection process, like after it finished and you went back home, back to your family, did you find yourself kind of thinking about the process much, or the works that you saw, or did you really let it all go? Or
after the pre-selection process, I found myself really just excited about returning to view the works themselves. After the pre-selection was all digital, and I know that there were about maybe a dozen works that I was very, very keen on seeing, and when we came to looking at the works this time around, those are the works you immediately go looking for because you're already familiar with them and you already know they're going to be here, and you just think, yep, all right. But again, there were some works that were disappointed and some works that surprised in equal measure. So yeah, but returning home after pre-selection, you just think, oh, okay, I must keep that in mind. There will be questions I have to ask about that, and questions you want to ask your fellow judges about certain works and what their idea of a winner is, their idea of what a show should look like, their idea of what an audience will want to see, and we all have different expectations, but yeah, I believe we were all pretty excited.
And mate, I'm just wondering if you can give us an insight into your thoughts. I mean, you did just then, but also just of walking into that room for the first time and seeing your decisions on the wall and how that made you feel.
It's always exciting walking back into the space and seeing all the works installed. They've all turned up and they're installed, and the walls are lit, and the space has been reorganised, especially to accommodate this show. I was especially pleased with the hang. It didn't feel overcrowded, which is usually something that's unavoidable in these kinds of shows. But also just really interested to see how the lighting was going to set some of these works off, and to, we anticipate what the scale of some of these works will be. And we're given the dimensions, but they don't really kind of show themselves until they're installed. and so that was really exciting. But mind you, when we first walk in, we know we also have a really big job ahead of us. So that excitement is kind of tempered with, the idea that we have a lot of work to get through. But we'll be a lot more happy once we've finished the judging. So that's to look forward to as well. But on first impression, it was terrific. The install is great. So I can't wait to get some feedback from general audience. I think they're going to love it.
So, mate, can you give us some insight into the judging process you've been through over the last couple of days?
The judging process of the last couple of days has been, not grueling, but long. We certainly put ourselves through the mill. Again, it was about, we had ideas about what were going to be the category winners, and we wanted to give every possible artwork its chance to really say everything it had to say for itself. We asked each other lots of questions, and we were asking a lot of what the artworks had to offer. And I think that kind of examination is required. It's essential. You can't just say this is my favourite. In saying that, we all are here to determine winners according to our own biases and sensitivities, and surely that plays into it as well. But that's all the more reason for engaging in fairly steady and ongoing conversation with each other as fellow judges in what we think are the merits of each work.
And mate, I was just wondering, has your view of the awards and of the judging the awards changed through being a judge yourself?
My idea of the awards, I guess, is I don't know, because it's changed in the sense that maybe some of the selections we've made this year might give an idea of where the award could go, and may give an idea of what the award could be. But in saying that, the Telstra has a very well established legacy, and for good reasons too, and it has a lot to do with the way people want to think about the Telstra, but also Aboriginal art in general. It's had a profound effect on Aboriginal art, so particularly across the top of Australia. So that's something that we were aware of when you come in as a judge, and but it's also something that you don't want to damage the legacy of an award. You don't want to create any controversies that may detrimentally affect an award, particularly since it's an Aboriginal award and I'm an Aboriginal judge. So I don't want to kind of have an adverse effect on the award. But in saying that, you want to know that you've had some effect, that you've had a positive effect, or that you've had some effect that will expand the idea of what the Telstra means or what it can mean to people. So hopefully we've done that too.
River. Thanks, Matt.